So we're here for round 3. My computer messed up during round 2, which was pretty unfortunate, but we won. So there's that. Probably try and play a heads-up queue or something after the fact so we can get the full 5 rounds here. And yeah, this hand is good. On the play, we have Gossip Monger into maybe Kithian. If we think we're going to use our Knight for mana, it would be nice because we have Gideon. We do have the Gideon, Kithian anti-synergy going on here, but it should be alright. Won't be the end of the world. And we'll see what kind of damage this Gossip Monger can do on the play. So, okay. We're going to go ahead and do this. Flippy. Our opponent has Shambling Vent, so likely a Knight of the White Orchid deck themselves. Ooh, Port Town. Things just got interesting. Esper Dagrons? I don't know. So maybe not a Knight deck. I was thinking that if they were a Knight deck, I would just not play with my land, or not want to play my land. So grab my Kithian, that's kind of great. Because we didn't really want that anyway. But now since we have land 3, I kind of just want to jam Knight and my land in case we hit, and we can flip this Gossip Monger this turn. By flip, I mean transform, obviously, but two, excuse me, very similar mechanics, and I don't know, I like saying flip instead of transform. Less syllables. So yeah, I guess we'll play our Knight. Transform. Keep thinking I have to click on him to attack, but he's ready. They're ready. They just want to battle, and I get that, and I love it. I love that about the Incited Rabble. So kind of expect a Languish. If they don't have a Languish, they're dead in 2 turns. If they Languish and we draw a land, that'd be great since we can drop Gideon. I'm not sure if I want to play this Inspector or not. I really don't want them to play a counterspell. If they do Languish and we don't hit a land, having Inspector would be great, but yeah, Scatter, okay. That is fine, I suppose. Okay, so no Languish. Great. Their own Gideon, though. It's interesting. Very interesting. Alright, well, probably not using the stone on much else. So we'll send the Rabble at the Gideon, take that out, Knight to them. So kind of to skip a turn there, skip a combat step to take out the Gideon. But I think that's worth it. And now if they drop Ojutai, it's going to be a problem. Or just have the Languish now, too. Nope, nothing. I mean, they do have Shambling Vents. Alright. Alright. So, they need black and white to activate the vent, so they're going to have vent and island open if they do that. So I guess I'll just play my land first in case I need to have 2 pumps. Yeah, I think we'll just get them with the Rabbles. If they don't activate vent, we'll just pump 1 on each. And just kind of force the sweeper and then play Gideon as the follow-up. Or that, sure. This is not a bad Magic card. But they had to tap out to do that. So we get to sneak Gideon into play, which is great. Bouncing a Gossip Monger is basically... it's pretty close to killing it. Not quite there, but... I am both surprised that a control deck exists, and surprised that my opponent did not get just pounded by my triple 1-drop draw. But maybe I didn't have to play that Thraben Inspector. Could have just made them rot on the scatter, which probably would have been better. They have like Dragon Lord Silmgar that could take my Gideon Emblem, which is always the big fear. Alright, their own Gideon. Still not doing much because of my board presence here. We get to activate Knight, which is cool. And then is it just like Knight, Stone, kill my opponent? Is that what we're going to try and do? Hope our opponent doesn't have anything. All right. 9 for Xaxes. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So I like counterspells. Counterspells are sweet. Avacyn is less good. These removal spells seemed pretty terrible because of our opponent's Gideons, so I would assume that they're just Esper Planeswalkers and not actually Esper Dragons. So I think we can go pretty low on removal, and I think I want Stone instead of Snare, but that could certainly be wrong. Reflector Mage can just like bink the token, which is kind of sweet. And then yeah, we don't have much of a sideboard here. If I had like Ojutai's Command, I would bring that into just to have a thing that could like rebuy a creature and draw me a card. Consul's Lieutenant is definitely not great, but does attack through Gideon, Ally Knights, and Shambling Vent if you do have a way to give it +1/+1. So I think those kind of have to stay. The stones are not great, but I don't really think I want something like Griff's Boon. I could be wrong about that, though. Boon might be nice for just like flying over a token or event and maybe hitting a Planeswalker. But I'll keep in the 2 stones. 2 stones, 4 Reflector Mages. As you can see, we're 2-0 in the league. Like I said, we did win round 2, even though it won't be on video. And this hand is not particularly good. We only have 1 threat. We have basically an extra land, and we have a Declaration that is probably not going to do much. Maybe the Declaration should just be Avacyn's. Obviously, we can't keep a 0-lander, so we'll ship that too. Down to 5. Hand's not pretty. I mean, if we had a second land, I would definitely keep this, but I think we have to get to land 2 before we consider trying to up our card selection a little bit. And no land for our port town, so it's a sad day. And this hand will likely be too slow to do anything, be my guess. Opponent has a Jace, which makes me happy that I kept in the stones and the mages. Don't have one currently, but maybe someday. Maybe someday. Oh, they do have their own knights. That's cool. So possibly a Planar Outburst deck. Can't really afford to play around it here. As far as, you know, like holding creatures back and stuff. Alright, so here's Gideon. My opponent's on the play. We stumbled a little bit, so their Gideon looks pretty good. If we get Always Watching, that will certainly help. And we do not. So we'll just send the Rabble at Gideon, which is capable of taking it out. Now we kind of have to pump to actually kill both our opponent's creatures. And now our counter shields are down. So bad things are likely going to happen to us. This is definitely one of those matchups where I would prefer to have a negate instead of a dispel, which is one of the reasons I might just end up playing with 3 negates. Our opponent keeps looting away land. Ooh, an emblem. So that means another Gideon's coming. Would have been nice if we had Dispel open. Oh, I guess, yeah, they could just use the flip Jace. That also makes sense. Maybe they think their Gideon is just in danger of dying. Maybe they just want to flip Jace. Who knows? Or both. So here comes 3-3. Jace is going to tick up on the Rabble, I would assume. So now we have a pathetic 1-4 Prairie Stream. The ETB's tapped. Not very exciting. I guess we'll attack Gideon. Opponent freely gets to block, which is kind of a tilt. Our opponent has played more spells than us. Way more spells than us. And it is getting to that point where we are just in trouble. Hanger back. Okay. So our opponent's kind of like blue-white tokens. Kind of like the Esper tokens deck from last year. So I guess that means that my removal is better than I thought it was. It also means that their sweepers are probably just in the sideboard. But yeah, we are basically dead. So yeah, Stones actually look to be pretty good here. Stones and Reflector Mages both. I'm not sure how that changes things. I guess that means I just don't want these Dispels. An Avacyn might be okay. The Flyer can also stop Planar Outburst, which is pretty tight. Yeah, I'll just do one Avacyn. Single solitary Avacyn. Alright, let's get a playable hand. This hand is indeed playable. I like it. Opponent's on 6. Possibly 5. Nope. Alright, Port Town, reveal planes. 3-man Inspector. And we are off. I like Lieutenant to just pump multiple things, especially since I have 2 Reflector Mages back. Why would they reveal a planes? So that means I'm going to jam Knight so I can get a counter on Knight and just like spread my threats around. And I will not play my 3rd land if I can avoid it because of their potential Knight of the White Orchid. Although if they do play a Jace or a Hangerback, I might have to Reflector Mage. But yeah, it does not look that way. So now I could play my land. Just because I can play Lieutenant and Inspector and then have 2 Reflector Mages, but I really don't want them to ramp into a Planar Outburst. So I think I'm just going to go with the Lieutenant. And just never let them knight me. And I think that is a good plan. Okay. Well, now we can definitely play our 3rd land. We'll lead with Inspector to get a counter on Lieutenant. They might feel like they're forced to cast Scatter here, which would be nice. So now I have 7 on board. This Lieutenant is pretty huge. I can't think of a 4-mana sweeper, but this might just get countered. Okay. Well, we have a bunch of shit. We kind of got like the nut, pump your stuff, human draw. Stasis Snare? Okay, well that's going to help. It's not going to solve everything. Still facing down lethal, and I have 2 Reflector Mages. Okay, so Ojutai's command is definitely a consideration. And I'm showing 10, which would put them to 1. I could just play Reflector Mage, but they could just counter it and gain 4. I think I'd rather just attack, have them use Ojutai's command. Maybe they get to Planar Outburst, but at least then I get to sack 2 clues. Possible I should just start my turn by cracking a clue once I decide that I'm going to go this route. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt, but... I guess I should have done this because I could have drawn a counter spell and then countered the Stasis Snare, which would have been great. At least play my land, and then I could clue in response into a negate. Now if I get outbursted, it's kind of bad, but at least I get to play Gideon. And then it's pretty tough for them to beat that because they can play Gideon, make a thing, but I can just bounce it and attack with Gideon. So yeah, we win.